time for the Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Waiting to be profiled are actor-singer Rex Smith and actress-costumer Sara Zinser. Singer-actor Rex Smith was born in Florida and raised in a few southern cities. Right from high school, he went to work. You've seen him on TV, you've seen him in feature films, but let's turn to Broadway, where he made his home in Grand Hotel, Sunset Boulevard, Annie Get Your Gun, The Scarlet Pimpernel, Kiss Me Kate. And when I mentioned Rex's name to my daughter, she went, Pirates of Penzance, he's fabulous. And here's the fabulous Rex Smith.
Well, it's fabulous to be here. I'm sorry the audience wasn't a fly on the wall for the conversations you and I have already enjoyed. Because just walking into your studio, and you're so gracious and inviting. We were just talking about, I was telling you how I love the set just to begin with. And
Thank
then
you.
Put you in it, and it's kismet.
Thank you. But you were a teen idol. You had a platinum record.
Yes, I think.
Tell us how it started.
I think
from high school.
it's like you have a platinum, not had. It's like you have the Oscar, you have the platinum,
Right, okay.
you have attained. I'm not correcting you, but I'm just. I say that because I never want to live too mired in the past. I'm always looking ahead. And
I
so
know.
I don't even carry those things that much forward, but
my
platinum album, let me tell you this, my platinum album, I was moving into a house years ago and things were in boxes. I was backing my car up and I heard and I looked and I'd run over my platinum record.
Oh no.
And I was able to get my manager's platinum record that was presented to him on eBay. So
you really ruined your own platinum.
I ran over it and I broke it, but I was able to buy one years later for a gift. I received from my manager's office. Somebody took it out of there, and I got it on eBay. So I got my own life back on eBay.
But how did you earn it as a teenager?
We were talking earlier. I got signed with Columbia Records. I was 20 years old. Went up to New York and spent 6 months up there, sort of like Midnight Cowboy, in terms of I had a scarf and a blue jean jacket, pair of gloves, okay? I mean, it was a cold winter. I was quite fortunate that I met some interesting people that led me to Aerosmith's managers. Ultimately went to Columbia Records and I signed with these managers. They said, you have 8 weeks to put a band together and record an album, and you begin tour with Ted Nugent in Atlanta, Georgia, was where I grew up, at the Fox Theater in 8 weeks. So it was like officer training school or whatever. I had 8 weeks to put a band together, write an album, be performance ready in 8 weeks. The most exciting thing is that there's an office and a phone, and you have carte blanche at Manny's Music in New York, which was the place to get all your instruments.
So you were in New York, and you're going back to Atlanta.
Well, Atlanta is where the tour is going to begin.
Yeah, but that was
my initial inaugural gig was going to be in hometown Atlanta.
Wasn't that great?
Yeah. A lot of good fortune there. I don't know if, there's 9 lives, people say, but I used about 90 lives worth of good luck in a very short span. Played for 2 years, opening for Ted Nugent. I played Anaheim Stadium out here in the Forum and the Whiskey and the Starwood. These are places that aren't there anymore, but they were really, it was quite cool.
But you were traveling around.
2 6-month tours.
Yeah, so, that was a lot.
When I was touring with Leonard Skinner and Ted Nugent, and Leonard Skinner, they were great. And Ronnie Van Zant was a very nice gentleman, Southern gentleman. We got along quite well. Tragically, we played a concert, and 3 days later, we were all meeting in New York to play the Garden, and they had the plane crash the next day. And I saw Ronnie. We were having a beer at the hotel before we went to bed, and I said, I'll see you in New York, and never saw him again. Now, the twist is that I was the baby opening band playing about a 40-minute opening set. This was expanded to an hour and a half set because now it's just Ted and I. Some producers saw me, asked me to talk about doing a movie. I did this movie Sooner or Later that played on NBC.
right.
It was a Sunday night movie. Now, and those in 1979, there was 3 channels of network and a little VHF. Okay, so the impact of that was, it was phenomenal in terms of very old school of like the Beatles playing Ed Sullivan. In terms of the day after that played on Monday, I went to Bloomingdale's to buy a shirt. And I was in Bloomingdale's and I saw Bill Cosby being interviewed. And I heard all these people screaming. And I remember standing there going, that poor guy can't go anywhere. And then
Right.
15 minutes later, I was locked in a dressing room and the police are there and they're going, there's pandemonium.
They saw
And
you,
thinking,
they knew
go,
you were
who
there.
the oop are you? And I go, guys, I tell you what, there was a movie on last night that maybe this has something to do with it. And in that instant, this was 12 hours, 13 hours,
Yeah.
14 hours after it had aired. My life went into, it was a 2 years of that around the world.
So that was like groupies and teenage
Well, here's the
idolists.
thing. After that, they said, we're going to Toronto. You're going to sign. Also at the same time, my first Broadway part was I was the last original Danny Zuko.
Oh, that's
so
I was going to get
Peter
you to
Gallagher was
Grease.
Peter Gallagher was I was the last Zuko, okay, of the original. Now, 16 years later, I played Zuko again in the revival of the Broadway revival of Grease.
You did?
Yeah,
You played it
I
twice?
played it twice.
Oh,
So
I
it was
didn't know
like
that.
damn Yankees. Here I got to do again.
right.
I'm jumping around, but here's the quirk of that thing. That I was offered that part 3 days after they had just pulled the plug on Sunset Boulevard that I was doing with Faye Dunaway.
Oh, so you were already on Broadway.
I'm talking about, I was out here in LA to replace, Faye Dunn and I were taking over Sunset Boulevard here. They
Oh, it
pulled
was
the plug,
here you did it.
the LA production. We were taking over for Glenn. They were going to New York.
Right.
They pulled the plug on it.
Right.
I was like the Manchurian Candidate. I had this Andrew Lloyd Webber musical in my head and no place to go. 3 days before we opened, they pulled the plug. So I'm in the backyard with my barbecue taking the script and just burning it in the thing.
Oh, my gosh.
The phone rang. They said, would you like to play Danny Zuko? I said, yeah, let's go. I'm
so
ready
then
to
you
play.
went right
I'll play
back-
Sandy at this point.
So you went back to Broadway.
I'm ready to play the monkey at Sunset
But you were
Boulevard.
ready to go, right? You were ready to go to Broadway. And here you've got Grease coming up again.
Well, Grease came,
the
you
same
remember in
time?
Damn Yankees, the story of Damn Yankees, the guy gets a second chance to
Right,
be young.
yeah,
Well,
that's
to play,
what I
when
meant.
I played Zuko for the second time, the guy that played Sonny, hey Danny, the little Sonny guy, he was 5 years old the first time I played it.
know.
He was still not old enough to buy beer after the show. He'd go, hey Rex, you go get me a beer or something. Okay. So I was like, okay, I'll get you a beer, but not too many.
So you did do a lot of Broadway.
Tons.
You really did a lot.
You know, you couldn't recreate it. The Broadway now is not what it was then in terms of it was a golden age of
And
true
talking
Broadway.
about golden age, you did Solid Gold. What did you do with Solid
Gold?
Gold?
Solid Gold, when I finished Pirates and I did the movie of it for a year, we were 10 months in there, I came back and I was working on my last album for Columbia called Camouflage, and Andy Gibb was hosting Solid Gold, which was just before MTV. Okay, so everybody was on, from Tom Jones to, you name it, to Michael Jackson. Everybody did it. And it's crossroads in terms of Andy Gibb. Here's a teen idol. Here's a guy that replaced, he did my part in the LA production of Pirates Penzance out here. So there was one parallel.
see.
And then when it came to Solid Gold, he had a terrific drug and alcohol problem. They had to go and really rehab him every time they had to shoot. And the producers came to me and asked me if I could sub in for a while, and it turned into a permanent job for me. But the tragic thing about it is, and wonderful for me, here's two guys that had paralleled and actually, I replaced him, this kind of thing. And when he passed away, I remember I was walking my dog and I came back in and I had my oldest daughter in, the little living room playpen. And when he did Solid Gold, he was locked in a bathroom and they'd have to go drag him out. When I did Solid Gold, I bought a biplane and I got my pilot's license. So it was two ways of getting high. I was flying inverted over Linda Ronstadt's house over Malibu,
Yeah.
waggling the wings at sunset with a parachute on. And my dad was a fighter pilot, so
so that's why you knew
and my
about it,
cousin
right?
and such. So there was a little fulfillment there for me.
But Did you?
I'm jumping all over the highway.
That's
I know.
okay. Did you have to audition for those Broadway shows?
Well,
or did they call you and say we want?
No, there's been combinations of that. You know, what Anything Goes for Lincoln Center, that was just a call. Any Get Your Gun was a call.
So they knew they wanted you.
Well, I've done.
Yeah.
There was, it's just, it has evolved now. Broadway, what they coined it as the jukebox musical. The business plan of Broadway, which Broadway I think has been horrifically destroyed because big business, corporate ruined everything else, and then they went, hey, what are they doing over here? Because used to, Broadway was a thing where it was a small clique of producers and intimates and people that you knew at Sardi's, and they put together productions, and it wasn't a closed group. You had to earn entree into it, but it was the greatest country club.
Yeah.
And now it's a bean counter convention, and it's not, it is, I don't think, for me, and I enjoyed the Four Seasons when there were Four Seasons. I really don't need to spend $100 to go, big girls don't cry. Okay, I kind of like musicals when
From
the song when there's a bright
Mm-hmm.
golden haze on the meadow. Well, there's a song that fulfills character and advances the story.
Well, you do that. You do a show talking. It's called what do you call it? Stand-up vocalist.
Yeah.
In a way, because you tell these stories that you're telling us today.
Or a sit-down comedian.
And you sing along with it.
Yeah.
And you're very popular in the Philippines.
Well,
how did that happen?
There is there are parts of the world for many artists that it's a time capsule. That the moment you board a plane, if it's Philippine Air, let's say, it's a different world for me. It's 1983 or something. It's everybody's coming up and bowing and singing. I mean, by the time we're halfway the flight, every flight attendant has come and sung part of a song to me.
But you have to also have the venues there. You have to to know.
I've headlined, there's Arenado Coliseum where Ali fought Frazier,
Right.
the Thrilla in Manila. I mean, I've headlined there several times.
Yes.
So I've
and those are
played
huge.
16,000 seats.
I know,
2
those
nights.
are huge places.
And then I come back to a very quiet thing at the, where I'm just wait. I'm taking my ticket at the butcher's, waiting for my turn to go. Can I get a couple of?
What about Las Vegas? You've done
Vegas.
Las Vegas.
I played this year. I played a couple times a year, Hard Rock and a place, the Silverton Casino. I thought that when I came off of Kiss Me Kate in 2002, I thought that was kind of like Super Bowl in terms of I felt like the environment of what they were doing in theater was not holding such a attraction for me or me for it in terms of I'm not really, to me, playing in a jukebox musical is like being in a top 40 band at a bar. The beauty of these other productions were to immerse yourself in a character and bring a character to life, not try to recreate.
But are you writing? Do you write music so that you can do something new?
Yeah,
like
well,
that?
we're really at, and it's not enjoyable. But with the strike and this, that, and the other, I was just on the way to this studio. I was driving by Paramount, and it struck me with YouTube and everything.
Yeah.
There's generations, they don't care about the Oscars. They don't care about, I'm not saying, they don't, this isn't me against
Broadway,
them. Might as well embrace it, or Broadway, or any of it. It doesn't fit on a jib-jab 30-second download, okay?
Exactly.
Okay, and as I was driving by Paramount, behind those walls of Paramount, those people are like Norma Desmond. They're still, somebody's writing the fan mail to them, but the world's flowing around it.
Yeah.
And it's not, I saw people on strike in front of it, and the reason it is in that thing is it doesn't matter anymore. So I'm looking to see how can I fit into the world as it is today. Instead of fighting, going, but it's got to be like this.
Right.
I'm not saying it's the most wonderful embrace. Medusa, don't look too hard at it, but I'm looking to become, to participate in the way the world is, via Vegas, I just was in the studio till 5 a.m. this past week, cutting 4 tunes that when I get back from this tour, I'm gonna start doing some video of music and also what I'm terming a V-blog. video blog where what you and I are doing, just a little 30-second little thing about pirates or this on my website at
which is great,
rexsmith.com.
yeah.
You go to that, you pull down pirates, and you can push the V-blog, and I'll tell you a few stories about it.
But
Linda
that's
and
what I
Kevin.
was saying, stand-up vocalist.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
So we'll look for that. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Thanks, Rex.
Oh, pleasure.
I'm sorry it's over so fast.
I know.
Don't go away. We'll be right back with Sara Zinser. I have the same thing with you. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Actress, performer, director, costumer, Sara Zinser was born and raised in New Jersey. She graduated from Boston University with a BFA in acting. She worked in Washington, D.C., joined a touring theater company, and landed in Los Angeles. You've seen her in film, TV, but mostly on a lot of the Los Angeles stages and a lot of award-winning plays. So, did you study and work in New York before you came here?
No, I was always going to do that. That was always what I was, because I grew up in New Jersey. I was going to go to New York and be the actress.
And you did?
I never did.
You never did?
No, because I graduated
Oh, you
Boston
started
University.
on this tour.
Right, I graduated from Boston University and got hired in D.C. In this Books Alive, which was...
What was that?
It was actually was a great, another arts,
Sounds good.
Sarah's back doing arts education back 100 years ago. It was actually books that were brought to life on theater, and there was that, the last one was Jackie and the Beanstalk, and I was Jackie with pigtails.
But so you actually acted out?
Oh yeah, we were acting out the thing, and we were going around to schools. We were going to schools.
It was education.
It was an educational thing, and so it was, and Tiki Tiki Tombo, that one of those that.
But it sounded so great that you could do that even with like an adult book, books
Totally.
on tours.
You know, and I
wouldn't it?
actually have friends who do that. It's called Book It, and they do bring books to life on the theater, and it's half. It's like that story theater thing that you have. Half of it is presentational, and half of it is real, the acting.
So you didn't get to study in New York. Did you get to study in L.A.?
Oh yeah, study. You mean like more acting classes?
Studying acting classes.
Yes,
yeah.
I certainly did.
Yeah.
I worked with Michael Shurtleff for years and years and years.
Oh, I
The
see.
great audition technique book that he had. And I worked with Elizabeth Huddle, beautiful actress, who was known mostly at ACT and at the ACT company. There's ACT company in Seattle.
Yes, that's great.
That's it. She's been there, and
But you worked with a lot of ACT people.
Right,
and
my husband-
you founded a
founded the theater company that is still going
with
today.
those people, huh?
With those people, yeah. In fact, my husband went to ACT 100 years ago, good long time ago, and he started. We were together by then, not married yet, but we started the company with, and some people that are still there.
But let's talk about the first company you started, because you co-founded two
theater companies.
two theater companies. That's pretty bizarre, isn't it? I mean,
bizarre.
it's not bizarre in the way that it's bizarre, but it's like a lot of work to do
It
that.
is a lot of work, and it's also that grassrootsy
Yeah.
thing that I have. I mean, right now, 100 years later, I'm doing with my husband. We're working at the Pacific Resident Theater. We're a workshop production of Time of Your Life, which is a beautiful, huge play. The director of that play is Matt McKenzie. He was at ACT with my husband Steve.
So Pacific Residence Theater.
Pacific Residence Theater was the Pacific Theater Ensemble when we started it in '85.
So that was a group of actors you started
Group of
with.
actors, completely
And
actor.
you changed it to the Residence Theater?
That kind of happened when I was gone. I did leave LA for 4 years.
I see.
That's when I was an actress in New York. I was an actress in New York for 4
okay,
years.
so- okay,
For-
good.
But
Get
only-
us to New York a little bit, because
Just a
I saw a
little.
little bit of New York.
A little
in
bit.
your-
And I actually did okay. You know, what I did find when I was in New York, it was so interesting that all the people that had been there all those years that I had been in LA, they had the track record. They had the things. And I'd been out here. So they were a little bit like, huh? What?
Yes, but you were founding companies and
That's
doing
not-
things
and
like
so
that.
it's great. And what I felt like, Joan, it's interesting, I felt like as an actor, I grew up here. Mm-hmm.
Which is strange.
Which is because of the theater company. and so when I came back, everybody knew who I was. Everybody knew what was going on.
They knew because they knew about your theater companies. They knew that you were nurturing actors. They knew you were working
Exactly.
together in ensemble.
No, exactly.
And that was probably things that they wanted to do.
Right. No, it's true. It's true. But it's so funny, that thing of, and there's 3 different people who started the theater company, Pacific Resident Theater. Joe Olivieri, who directed Alice Sit by the Fire, which is running right now.
Alice is you were in it.
I'm in it now. I'm not going to be in it.
And Allie Mills and Orson
Bean. These 2 wonderful kids from UCLA. One, Miles Marisco, is still at UCLA, and Betty Wagel has graduated.
But this is part of your theater company where you're working with colleges.
And we're bringing them in. We've got it.
See, that's so great.
No, it is good. But
I
Joe
interrupted
Olivieri,
you, but
it's
it's true. You started with 3 other couples. Let's go back to that.
But it's just a cute little side note that 3 couples, myself being one of them, Joe Olivieri being one of the other ones, and another woman and her husband, the Beckers, we all were founding members of Pacific Resident Theater. We were all in that first show, Happy End, 100 years ago, 1985. And then we all left LA because we were off doing something in children and we all came back.
But
we're all back.
Joe teaches at UCLA.
Yeah, he's Mr. Our theater professor now.
And so he's bringing people in
and he's
from
bringing
there.
the kids in. No, it's really great
Oh,
that
that's
the kids, and actually Pacific Resident Theater is kind of responsible for another child came into the play Alice for the weekend as a maid, and she had Marilyn Fox as her teacher, she'd had Gar Campbell as her teacher, she'd had Scott Conti as her teacher, and Joe Olivieri. So it was like the PRT run of acting teachers.
But you continue to work and do education in the schools, don't you? You have a program with 24th
Street Theater. I work at the 24th Street Theater. We're the 3rd largest arts ed provider now.
Is that
right?
right?
Yeah, really. It's wild. Right behind the Amundsen and Music Center.
Well, how do you get into the schools?
What we have, it's really great. They come to us. It happened this morning. This morning at 10 o'clock, 2 school buses pulled up to the 24th Street Theater. It's
theater?
a field trip to the theater. It's a field trip to the theater.
Great.
We have a teaching artist goes to this classrooms, does what we call a pre, where it introduces
Stage
the terms.
1.
Well, it's sort of. It's like, and this is what you're going to see. Exactly. And then they come to the theater, and it's an hour and a half, and there's the history. It's 2,000 years old. We're in a movie town, but how do you get a close-up in the theater? It's lights. Now you're looking at me. Now you're looking at me. It's really, and then the final thing we do is, it's called the layering scene, where we start just with the 2 actors. There's 2 actors in this, and then a child. We get a child from the audience. We hold auditions. And they do it once, just playing, and then we add the set, and then we add the sets, lights, and costumes.
The whole time? In one time, or they continue to come back?
We do it. This particular component of the show is in every show, but we do the same scene 3 times, layering in theater elements.
So you're teaching them costuming and then lighting.
Exactly. And how do you make this? How do we?
But that's what you learn in a theater company, right? Your ensemble has to do everything.
Absolutely, and we all did.
But people don't understand that, I think.
Oh yeah, the teamwork effort, what it takes to do a production, the collaboration, it's huge. I mean, I
was talking to 2 of the people in your company, Kevin and Jordan.
Jordan Killer.
And they were talking about building the sets.
Oh yeah.
And actually, and they're accomplished actors who are out working all the time.
I saw Jordan on Broadway in 3 Tall Women back in the day.
Right.
I mean, we were in New York at the same time then. So yeah, no, I'm doing this workshop production that's happening right now at Pacific Resident Theater, Time of Your Life. Beautiful play, William Seurin. I'm coordinating.
I want to come see that.
It's going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
I have to be.
So you're coordinating
the costumes for that.
Yeah, because you're a costumer
I'm
as
also
well.
a costumer, which that sort of happened. I can't tell you. When I'm also doing a job at Millikan High School. I'm costuming a job there. And when I met him last fall, the first job
Millikan,
I did.
Because you work at Millikan and you work at a couple of different high schools.
schools that I've done, and the real theaters, not just schools.
Yeah, right.
And he said, "Do you have a portfolio?" And I was like, "No." Could you bring pictures in a portfolio? I was like, "No." And then I had to be honest with him. I said, "I've never taken a costuming class in my life, but I've been in the theater my entire life. So, and I know it. Somehow
Yes.
I know it.
But let me tell you, you know how to sew.
A little bit. I'm not a great
You're not a great sewer?
No.
Oh, because I thought you knew how to sew and needlepoint, and you work with fabric, so I thought that's what took
Totally.
you
No,
to it.
I do totally know how to do it. Needlepoint, knitting, all those kinds of things. And craft, I make fairies, whatever.
But so you can do that.
I can do that stuff. I'm not a great seamstress.
And what
kind of
about
thing.
directing?
It's just started. I mean, I've always been a big mouth. I've always been a big mouth
Right.
and had big fat opinions. You know what I mean? It's the kind of thing. And I've worked with friends a lot in the theater. I mean, again, building a theater company, you have a core group of people.
Right.
Stephanie Schroyer was a genius director that I've worked
You've worked
with,
a lot
with
with
her. And so I'm standing behind her going like, yeah, but it's got to stand over there. You got to, you know, I'm doing those kind of things. And then it's been the last couple of years, about 4 or 5 years, that I've started to direct, and I love it. I love it.
You do, so you
I
do.
totally love it.
But is that part of the ensemble situation?
Well, here's the thing. When you're the director, you get to decide. You get to say, we're going to do it this way, which is great. I mean, of course, I'm a collaborator, and of course, when you work together. But I'm so opinionated because I've been doing it so long. And with me, I'm like, well, there's a right way to do it, and there's a wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
And we're going to do it the right way. So we have to do this.
Well, we talked about all the things you have to do in an ensemble,
Right.
in a theater company. And before we leave, do you cook for them too?
No. I draw the
thought
line.
I'd have a
No,
little
there's
bit
so
longer answer here than you don't cook, right?
No, I'll cook for my husband. I cook for my children. But there are those people that like make cookies for the cast.
Oh, that's what I wondered. But that's part of that group, isn't it?
That's great. Oh, it's totally great, and it's love. You know, you want to make actors friends, feed them. You know, you want to make friends with actors, feed them. But no, it's funny. I do everything else. I'm very the mom in terms of, you know, I cleaning up the kitchen and make sure we have coffee, make sure that
That's what
it's
you
clean.
take care of that stuff.
I'm completely the mom in that regard, but I don't make cookies.
Okay, we got it.
It's okay. You draw the line
We're
with that.
so glad you came.
No, it's just delightful, and it was
It's such a
fun.
great little theater. I've driven by it years and years and never realized it was there. So
That it was
I
there.
was
The Pacific
so
Resident
happy.
Theater?
Yeah.
In Venice, yeah.
Yeah, I've always gone to Beyond Baroque, which is right next
Right
door.
there, right next
Yeah.
door.
So thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a delight.
And
So much fun.
thanks for watching. Keep writing and email me, jaquinn1@aol.com and 777 South Figueroa, 44th floor, Los Angeles 90017. See you next time on the Joan.